Jay, I wanted to ask you, what is your reaction to the NCAA going with a single site, likely Indianapolis, for the NCAA tournament?
It's the smart move, Ryan. It's something that has been discussed for a while as to how to accommodate. Like, the NCAA has to have a tournament this year. Not having it last year and not having insurance for it and only getting about $250 million in insurance coverage, you have to have the tournament this year for the health of the sport. This is a big business. The idea that you're going to send all these teams all over the country in the midst of a pandemic that is getting worse right now, and there's no prospect of it getting better before March, doesn't make any sense, and the NCAA knows it. I mean, you'd be sending teams for the first four to Dayton, then you'd have 8 sites of 8 teams apiece for the early rounds, and then you got 4 Elite 8 sites, and then the Final Four. Indianapolis has always been the default site for the Final Four. So if there's some sort of disruption, terrorist attack, whatever, they always know that they can go to Indianapolis. So I expect that it's going to be there, even though the Final Four was supposed to be there. I suspect they'll work that out, and it'll be in Indy.
Okay, and then the season itself is set to tip off November 25th, but you got programs across the country hitting the pause button for the recommended 14-day period if a player or a staffer tests positive for COVID. How confident are you that the season tips off on the day before Thanksgiving?
I'm confident that the season will tip off. I'm just not confident that individual teams will be playing, that all the teams that we think are going to be playing will be playing. I think we're going to see a ton of disruptions throughout the season. I think it'll be worse than what we've seen in football because you've got so many more games and so much more travel. I think the one thing that gives me optimism that we can get the season in is that we're about a week away from all of these schools sending their students home for Thanksgiving, and they're not going to bring them back. That's been in the plan for a long time. So the players, the teams, will essentially be isolated in their own on-campus bubble. And that may be enough cover to keep the players safe enough where there's not spread that you would expect from students being on campus, because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing it everywhere.
Right.
But we're definitely going to see it on campus. And you're going to see more teams that are going to have positives, and it's going to be shutting programs down. You just saw it at Syracuse and the like. That's going to continue, and we have to expect those disruptions and be able to roll with it, because we cannot, like the NCAA and all the member institutions, they cannot cancel this season. There is just too much money at stake, too much of a big business. It's got to go forward, and that's not a bad thing. That's not the idea that, remember when all the head honchos in the NCAA said, no students on campus, no college sport?
Right.
They backed off that in a hurry,
yeah.
right? That's over. And then we can't have bubbles. We're having bubbles.
Yeah.
Like they're starting in a bubble at Mohegan Sun to start the season, and the NCAA tournament is going to be a bubble. That's not a bad thing. This is an important enterprise, and we have to go forward.
And also the protocols, of course, have to be adhered to in the program.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.